Welcome back to another episode of Off the Top Podcast. If you are a first timer here, first off, I want to say welcome. This is a podcast between me and my good buddy Julian. Julian, how you doing today?
I'm feeling real official with that intro, man. Let's switch it up a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit, just so we can kind of like onboard a few people that have joined a little later than episode 1, season 1. So today, or in general, we talk about just interesting things. We'll interview interesting people. And overall, it's just kind of like a knowledge base and a kind of a conversation between two people that have some interesting views and some interesting information. But without further ado, let's jump into our next podcast. Julian, take us away.
Yeah, and with, being similar-minded, we also are a little bit of pranksters, and we do enjoy a very well-placed troll. And if you aren't familiar with what a troll is, it is something that is, I would say, blown up with the internet as the access to information, to leave comments and anything, put memes or things in different places, or trick people. So essentially, a troll is someone who, I don't know if there's a great definition for it, but it kind of riles people up or does some shady stuff or some pranks there to gather some attention.
I think that's well said. A troll is basically all that, but I think the thing that's really disgusting about a troll is that they do it to derive like pleasure out of other people's like displeasure.
Yeah, and you see it a lot on Facebook, especially if you can get in some of those really political groups, or you even see it on Reddit or Twitter where, there's always hot takes. If an example, someone's talking about sports and someone throws in, well, I really think Bobby Boucher is the best football player of all time. And then there's some people who take that way too seriously and don't understand that that's a movie character that Adam Sandler plays and get really wild up. And, the person who makes that feels pretty happy about themselves.
Yep, exactly. And so without further ado, I wanted to start off with my personal favorite trolling. And it was actually not a person. It's an app. It's like a broadcasting company. So WB had a TV show called Superstar USA. Julian, have you heard of it before?
I have not heard of this.
Okay, so let me give you the preface. So imagine if a TV show, if WB just spoofed American Idol, but essentially the polar opposite.
Okay. So is this giving opportunity to people who think they're really good at singing, but they really aren't?
That's exactly true. So basically, they told the contestants they were looking for the best singer, when in actuality, they were looking for the like absolute worst singer, which is kind of just absolutely vile.
Yeah, it's a little cruel in a lot of scenarios, but I think there's a certain point you have to have the realization that you're not as good as you think you are. You'd think that would have to happen over the course of the show.
Yeah, you think so, but if it doesn't, which I mean, I'm a huge person in self-awareness. Like, if you don't have self-awareness, you don't have hardly anything, and you don't even know it. But in this scenario, it's insane, man. And so they basically have this show, like imagine American Idol, where there's judges and people are having sing-offs and their voices are god awful, but they don't even know it. So they're like, from the crowd. And dude, that's another thing. There's a crowd in this TV show. And so the crowd like cheers and stuff. And I want you to guess how they got them to not like laugh at these people when they sang horribly and instead like cheer.
They didn't allow them to listen. I don't know. What did they do?
So I am going to read this from verbatim from this Wikipedia page. One producer worried that the live audience members wait, hold up. First off, to address what you just said, like your guess, speculation, it's about 100 times more vile than that. So get ready. One producer worried that the live audience members would be unable to respectfully compose themselves during the final performances, falsely informed them that the singers were all terminally ill young people who were having a wish fulfilled by a charitable organization.
Bro, that's wrong on so many levels.
Yeah, how vile.
That the thing that is going through my head right now is that someone greenlit that show to be published or produced on Warner Brothers Network's WB network and got the funding to go through this to just humiliate other people.
Yeah, dude. Like, I don't know how much like gnarly of like a trolling that you can get, but basically they spent a full season's worth. So one season, 7 episodes, and each episode is about 42 minutes of just absolutely pure, just pure trolling.
Well, and the thing too is they didn't only troll the contestants, but they also trolled the audience, right? Like to get them to sit through there to use like a sob story like that. That's brutal trolling. That's the definition.
Yeah, no, it's gnarly. I mean, I guess the silver lining is that the contestant did receive $50,000 worth in cash, and then $50,000. Oh, and then still they have to troll her. 50. Even she was the winner of the worst, like being the worst singer. She also got on top of her cash a $50,000 budget to produce a record, which I don't think. First off, that's like kind of that's also like very backhanded. Secondly, I don't think $50,000 is getting you very far when it comes to like recording in studios and stuff, because I'm pretty sure they're extremely expensive.
Yeah, especially $50,000 for something no one's going to buy.
Yeah, 100%. But it's like, would you do that? Would you like? And they broke it to her. They broke the news to her. I watched like a clip of the last episode. They broke the news to her, and it was the weirdest thing I've ever seen before. Because you watch this person sing and they sound like a cat's dying breaths, but they have no idea that it's horrible.
Yeah, that's brutal. That's definitely a troll and a half there. Almost like a malicious attack at a certain point. I don't know if that goes above beyond the boundaries of trolling, but I guess it had to happen.
Yeah, 100%. 2004 was a weird time for troll inception, but it was the thing.
Another area I wasn't as familiar with in the trolling atmosphere, I've always heard of it, but it's filibustering. And so if you don't know what filibustering is, it is the act of a politician essentially killing or prolonging time for the opposition of a bill or a law, or a judgment of some case, where politicians will come to the stand and they'll read Dr. Seuss books. They'll tell their story, their version of a certain story, and things of that nature. And there's some pretty specific rules in filibustering where you can't sit down, you can't there's no breaks, you can't eat while at the stand. So, you have to be very dedicated to filibuster. And Senator Strom Thurmond filibustered the longest filibuster of all time, 24 hours and 18 minutes of filibustering, where before this, the rules for filibustering were a little bit different, but some of his time was conceded to other people helping him out, so that he could walk to the back of the Congress or the Senate floor. You're not allowed to leave the room. So you had to keep one foot on the ground at all times, or else his filibuster would be over. So they devised a little bucket in a cloak closet so the man could use the restroom to filibuster. And further, the way he prepared for this is that he would take very, very warm steam baths over the course
to dehydrate himself.
So his body would learn how to absorb fluids in the air more efficiently, since he wasn't able to eat or drink at the stand.
No.
For 24 hours. Yeah.
That's disgusting. What was he filibustering?
I couldn't tell you what it wasn't like a major, law or regulation I'd heard. It was just like at a state level of some sort, where he was a Democrat, and, the Democratic Party decided not to create an organized filibuster. It was just kind of like, do your own thing if you'd like to. And, he strongly opposed it in 24 hours, 18 minutes, longest filibuster of all time.
Do you get a sense that he's proud of it?
I don't know. I mean, you'd think if you were that dedicated, I mean, he holds a record, right? I'd be so stoked to tell him like, oh yeah, my filibustering prolonged this. And from what I read too, in the few articles I read about it, was like, the thing he was filibustering, like he was on the side of the agreement. Like I think they're going to, I don't know if it's decline or, override or just not pass the bill or law. And he was on that side. So he just essentially was making it longer for no real reason. Because typically when you filibuster, you're on the opposite side. So when it looks like things are going to sway to pass the bill and you want the bill to be, not pass the bill, then you filibuster. But he was just on the winning team.
Wow. So that's just like true spirit of a troll to do it for literally almost in detriment to your own interests.
Yeah, it's almost like he was playing like it was a mental game with other people. Like, you guys want to try to break this record? Well, I'm about to set it right here, and I'm open to any challengers.
Yeah, seriously. And so premeditated at the same time. Like that is he won a excellent trolling award for that.
Yeah, it definitely is something special.
So talking about something special, me and Julian are so thankful for kind of like all you listeners and everything of that nature. And so in the link down below, we have pictures and just videos of us just making you a dance and thanking you. So how about you go ahead and click that right now? I'll wait for 2 seconds. And as you're coming back to this, I'm sure now that you know that was a Rickroll.
I'm going to be honest. I had no clue where you're going with her, and that was perfect.
In trolling essence, I had to troll you with the most signature troll move of all, the Rickroll.
Dude, that brings back so many memories of early YouTube and the freedom that was YouTube for, a couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it kind of has the essence of like kind of the Wild West, like you said, back in the day. And it was one of those like very, very innocuous, harmless Rickrolls, or not Rickrolls, but trollings where you're super hyped to click on this thing. Or I've even seen it where professors will put like exam answers as a link on like their like Moodle or something. People click on it and it's just a stiff Rickrolling. And I think something like that, maybe it's the dad jokey or the dadness inside of me. It just truly kind of like touches a part of my soul where I just find like true enjoyment out of it. Even when I get Rickrolled or when I got Rickrolled, I was just like, God damn it. That was you got me.
You could argue that Rick Astley's, whoever thought of the Rickroll, right? First person who did it and it caught wildfire, may be one of the founders of modern trolling and modern memes. And by modern, I'd say, post 2004, maybe. That sounds like a good time.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. It was one of those things where almost like a sensation. Now, I don't remember how it started or where it started, but it's now one of those things that is in the DNA as a grandfather of future iterations of trolling.
Yeah, and it was so well placed. It was like all over YouTube where, titles would be clickbaity as ever. It'd be like, oh, you wouldn't believe this Call of Duty. The new Call of Duty's out. Check out this gameplay. And it would play like a couple seconds of like old Call of Duty. Boom, Rickrolled. Or it'd be like, oh, you wouldn't believe how much money so-and-so's made from this. And you'd watch, you'd be like, wow, this is Rickrolled. And it'd get you every single time.
Yeah, 100%. It was one of those things where there's no way that you didn't get Rickrolled. It's almost like having like cold sores as an adult. Like I think over 50% of the adults in the world have cold sores. More than 50% of the people in this world have been Rickrolled before.
I mean, it truly is a classic trolling. And, there's no other trolling like one that's very successful like the Rickroll that's historical. And I think everyone has heard the story, and I think it is one of the most clever trolls I've seen or heard of. And this was the invasion of Troy, right? We're going to gift you a giant wooden horse. We're going to gift you a giant wooden horse in terms of, we're kind of at a little bit of tension here, a little bit of battle, but here's a giant wooden horse, and you're going to bring this inside your village, and you're just going to believe it. You're just going to believe that we're going to give you a giant wooden horse and everything is going to be fine. And we all know the story goes, everything wasn't fine.
I think that's just either you are just so inept or you think that your enemy is so stupid that they just gave us a wooden horse just to try to win us over so that when we do take them over, it's going to be gentle. That's incredible.
And the way I'm looking at it too is that it's so extreme on both ends of the spectrum, right? It either works, and it did perfectly, or it doesn't work and it still goes down in history as like, what were they trying to do? Like, it's so obvious that no one is accepting a giant wooden horse or thinking it's nothing. And, that's how their fall happens, or the rise of Troy happens, I guess, in that instance. It's just, it's so bizarre.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things. And granted, maybe we're taking it out of the context of the actual historical time in that moment, where maybe that was a more normal thing to give gifts to people to win them over, or civilizations. But one, a giant wooden horse on wheels. Two, I mean, maybe it wasn't even on wheels. Maybe I can't say that, but a giant figurine of some sort. And to see it there and then just say, let's just put it inside and see how it looks, like a new vase or something. That's on another level.
Yeah, it's just truly remarkable in terms of trolling.
And one that can never be done again. But another thing that is remarkable is kind of how much we appreciate you guys on this podcast for listening. We're getting a lot more love and a lot more engagement, and so excited, so happy for that, because it just helps us kind of keep going ourselves. So I wanted to thank you guys for another smooth one on kind of some of the most notable trolls that are in our hearts. And I, invite you to come back again.
Yeah, guys, we really appreciate it. Make sure to leave a rating on the platform you listen to, or leave us a voice message on Anchor. We love to hear those and, love to respond. And rumor is if you do reach out to us, you may get Morgan Freeman to respond to you. So thanks for listening, guys.
See ya.